Are there certain films that you've come to later in life? Like you watched it the first time. I know we talked about how when I first came to LA, that Glenn Ross was just the talk of the town, and then I couldn't appreciate it at that age, but then I watched it later and I just saw how brilliant it was.
Yeah.
There's certain films that first time you saw them, and then you realize like how incredible something was later.
Okay, A Clockwork Orange. I saw that when I was maybe 13 years old, and I couldn't finish it. I was so bothered by it. It made me angry, it made me upset. There was that scene, that horrible scene where they break into that family's house, and it just bothered me. And people were always talking about how brilliant it was, and it was this genius film, and I couldn't finish it. And then years later, when I was at film school, I watched it and I was like, oh, it was because I was so emotionally impacted that showed the power of the film. I just wasn't at a level of maturity where I could kind of appreciate it for the art that it was. And now I think it's brilliant. It's still brutal, but to try and understand like what Kubrick was doing, like there's just endless amounts of lessons, and it's just a brilliant piece of film. But there's a ton of films like that. Reservoir Dogs. That was another one. I stopped it. I stopped it right when he was torturing the cop. I couldn't take it. I was just like, this is too much. This is too dark. And then of course, right after that scene, there's the big reveal. No spoilers, but there's the big reveal. So I started watching that again when I was like 14 years old. I'm like, this is just too dark. It's too brutal. And years later, I watched the entire thing and I'm like, oh, there's so much more to it. So having those few experiences was like, okay, I need to sit through a film and let the filmmaker take me on the journey, you know. And there's, you know, and there's movies like what was it, Antichrist, that I wanted to get out of that film because it was so brutal. It's still one of the most horrifying movies I've ever seen. But did you see that one?
I didn't. I'm thinking of Platoon. I think I saw that with a bunch of people, and it was just, I couldn't wait for it to, it was too brutal for me. Yeah.
But now I'm just like, I try to like just be open to it. I still don't like, you know, torture porn is, it doesn't do much for me, ironically, because this, you know, I'm working on a show that has elements of, well, it's largely psychological horror, but it does, like, there would be some people would have some overlap with like some torture scenes, but ultimately it's about how this is impacting them emotionally. But yeah, a lot of that is about, you know, you don't have to sit through anything. You don't have to go experience art. It's just the more you do, the more rewarding it is to you.